Welcome back, everyone, as we are here for the post game wrap up show. Amazing game just completed between Carolina and Green Bay. As we see the final score there, Carolina beats Green Bay 52 to 45. I feel like my voice might be going a little bit. Has it changed a little bit? Um, just an amazing, crazy game all around. As you saw, the first half, the score was 17 to 14 Green Bay, and then just an explosion of points in the second half. It was 40, 28, 68 points in the second half between these two teams. That was just an incredible game. Congratulations to both of our teams. I mean, I know you don't want to hear that if you lose, but man, that was a fantastic game. We'll run over the stats here real quick. Um, 516 yards of offense for Carolina, 433 for Green Bay, 127 yards rushing for Carolina, 183 for Green Bay. And you look at your passing stats, he had 389, big game for Cam Newton for Carolina, and 250 for Green Bay, mostly by Joey Leonard. First downs, Green Bay or Carolina had the slight edge there, 13 to 9, as that was part of one of those things that really was a difference in the game. You convert more first downs than your opponent, you're generally going to win those games. You look at the total yards gained, 619 for Carolina, 576, just over 1,200, almost 1,200 yards of total yards between the two teams. Wow, that was just amazing. Green Bay also lost the turnover battle, 3 turnovers for Green Bay, 2 for Carolina. Time of possession, we'll scroll down to that here in just a second. As we see 21 minutes to 19, Carolina led there. So if you look at the final stats, Carolina led in first downs, they won the turnover battle, and they won in time of possession. Generally, when you do all three of those things, you're generally going to come out on top. But if you ask Coach Juke, which we are hoping to do here before long, I bet he's going to say that wasn't easy. Even though you win all three of those, that game came down to the end, and we almost thought it was tied on that Hail Mary at the end. I'm still kind of surprised that wasn't complete. I thought Curse came down with it. So, amazing game. We'll take a look at the stats here real quick. I'm streaming this on my channel. I haven't hooked up my capture card, so it's a little behind. Clicked on the wrong game. Apologize for that. We'll get back into the right one here and show the individual stats as we compare the two QBs. You guys in the chat, thanks for sticking around with us. We're going to get Tigers, the losing coach, on the line. We're going to hopefully have Juke. I haven't heard back yet quite from him if he's going to be able to join us. And then our resident comedian, Mac Pax, can come on and share his thoughts of the game. So make sure to stick around as we got 3 potential interviews here coming up. So here we see Cam Newton, 128.6 QB rating, 403 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception. And Joey Leonard had the rough game. Did not have the game he had last night. Last night, 4 TDs, no interceptions. This night, Joey Leonard, 3 TDs, 3 interceptions, 250 yards passing. So, not the game. We talked about it before. Everybody was talking about if Joey Leonard could play like he did last night, Green Bay has got a really good chance to win. He comes out and throws 3 picks like he did tonight. It's going to be a rough night for him. And here we take a look at the running stats. Deron Briggs with the game of his life, 19 carries, 175 yards, and a touchdown. But as we see down there, Melvin Gordon, 19 carries, 66 yards, but a very quiet 3 touchdowns. I didn't realize he had 3 touchdowns. Didn't have a big game running the ball, but he was very effective when they got near the red zone and inside the 10-yard line. He was able to capitalize on the touchdowns. So as we go over here and take a look at the receiving stats, as we'll switch over here in just a second. Here we see Corey Austin, the big receiver, targeted by Carolina. They didn't go to Kelvin Benjamin much as you thought. He was covered up by Julius Scott, so they decided to pick on Casey Hayward, which they actually almost had a couple of really big plays there. Corey Austin, 5 catches, 144 and a touchdown. Benjamin, 4 for 53 and a touchdown. The McFadden guy that I hate saying his first name, all the top receivers, all for Carolina. 4 catches, 122 and a TD. Duncan, the the tight end for Green Bay, had 4 for 92 and a touchdown. And then you see Dorial Green Beckham down there also had a touchdown in this game. It's just an amazing offensive performance all along. As we look through these stats, very well spread out. Lots of different guys stepped in. So big game on offense. We look at the defensive stats here. AJ Klein, the leading tackler for Carolina, 9 tackles and tackle for loss. Luke Kuechly only had 8 tackles, but you thought he was around the ball a lot more than that. He did have 3 tackles for a loss, and that was big there. Melvin Jeffrey, the middle linebacker for Green Bay, led their team with 8 tackles. And Russell, the safety for Carolina, also had 8 tackles. Mingo and Dawson also had 8 tackles too. So a lot of guys stepped up and made big plays there on defense. Um, we'll take a look at the special team stats as Sonoris Perry. Actually, we didn't look at his offense, his receiving stats. We kind of overlooked that. He had the big touchdown for Green Bay. He also had the big kick return, 78-yard kick return that set up Green Bay at the 15-yard line, and they couldn't punch it in. Had to set up for a field goal. That was maybe the defining play of the game. We'll see what the rest of the guys think. But that's to take a look at our stats. We'll back out a little bit here, and we'll fire up the phone. I'll see if I can get Tigers on the phone call. We'll try to pull him up. So while you guys are waiting, we'll take a look. Earlier in the day, Tennessee pulled out a close win in that game, 17-14, over the Tennessee over San Diego. Sorry. So we're trying to call Tigers here, bring him in, see what his thoughts on the game were. Hey Tigers, it is Majesty 95. You're on the mic with us. Man, that was a amazing game all around. You guys jumped out to the lead early. It kind of looked like a shootout in the first 2 drives. Then it kind of settled down. It was 17-14 at the half, and then just an explosion of points on both sides in the second half. Give us your impression. What did you think of the first half, and more importantly, what did you think of all the scoring that went on in the second half?
I can't begin to dissect the second half. The first half, I felt like, we got off the ground running, literally. The first drive, 70-yard touchdown run by, Darren Briggs. And I felt like with the way the first half went, I had 155 yards, I think, on the ground in the first half. So my plan was to continue to stick to that game plan in the second half. Then turnovers became a factor, and special teams, and pretty much anything and everything you can think of in the second half became a factor. So it became very quickly I felt like whoever had the ball last would score and win the game the way that it was going. At the very end, I know, he had a run commit. I was up by, I think, 3 or 4, I'm not sure. But at the very end of the game when I was up, he had a run commit call. I saw it. So I called that little dump over the little drag to Duncan, and I just threw it about a second too early. I felt the pressure. I didn't want Leonard to go down. I hit the button, and next thing I know, he picked it off, and that's what sealed it at the very end.
Right. Well, that was one of the plays that was kind of being questioned. I scratched my head on a little bit, and some of the guys in the chat were asking about. They're like, man, do you throw it there? And I get why you were wanting to throw. I saw him bring everybody, and so you thought you could dump it over the middle. And obviously hindsight's always 20/20. But thinking back, you had an opportunity if you ran the ball twice and you get a first down, the game's pretty much over. I mean, if you had to do it again, you still do the same thing there?
No, I would have definitely ran the ball. I felt like, the coverage that I read, it was the right play call based on coverage. I don't think it was the right play call based on game situation.
Right.
So, lesson learned. When games like that, they're going to come down to a couple of decisions. I mean, quite frankly, it was quite a few decisions, but like we talked a few days ago, when you have a game like that, a lot of people, they point to one play, but quite frankly, there were multiple plays in that game that, decided it.
Right.
I mean, for anyone to break down the second half, I mean, like you said, I mean, even myself included, you can sit back and you can say, oh, this should have been the call. And it's just something you live with. You make the call, you own it, and you live and die by the call you make. So,
Right.
again, if that call had worked, everyone would have been like, wow, great play call. Duncan ran for 65 yards, and really sealed the game if it worked.
Right.
So it's easy to kind of point to that play, and I don't blame anyone that does, but, all in all, the game came down to more than just that play.
Right. Well, you bring up a good point. In a game like that, I didn't see how many total plays, but I gotta imagine there was, you know, probably close to 120 plays in that game. You can't really just say it was one, and really, if you run it there twice and you don't get the first down, then yeah, you switch field position, but maybe it's kind of the same. But you're right. There's a lot of plays, a lot of things go differently. One of the things that was really amazing about this game was all of the big plays. So I want to get your
Yeah.
thoughts on two things. There was just a ton of broken tackles all over the field on both sides.
Yep.
Your Packers specifically, but then on special teams you had Sonoris Perry that came up with a huge kick return, and then he also had the big play on offense. So what did you think about all the big plays going out there? And as you're going through that game and guys are missing tackles, what's kind of going through your head there?
It's funny because, in the playoff preview for each team breakdown, I put one area of concern that I have, and I had that area of concern going into this game because when you play Carolina, quite frankly, they have the big play potential amongst some of the best in the league as a team, as a unit. So I knew that there was going to be big plays in the game. I wanted to limit the big plays in the game. When I realized I wasn't doing a good job of that, I tried to put my offense in a position where they can make a big play, quite frankly, and they responded pretty well for the majority part of the game, I feel. But, there at the end, then they were one big play too short, so
Right.
I think it came down, the game came down to big plays, and we were on the wrong end of that. So I feel like it was exactly the way I thought it was going to go. It was going to either be a defensive shutdown on both sides, or it was going to be an absolute shootout. Because I knew my offense had the potential to put up points and to keep up with people that could put up points. But quite frankly, I'm really proud of the team in general. I think overall the effort that was given to stay in that game, and that's what it's about. You're in the playoffs. You're there to give it all you got and leave it all in the field. And I think you did. I think his team did the same. Quite frankly, I think it was a great opening week, wild card weekend. And I think, next year we're going to have more to come, obviously. So.
Well, you raised some more good points, and you're owning it. You own your calls, and you did what you thought you had to do, and it didn't go your way this time. And you have to be proud of this season. You guys won 11 games. You got into the playoffs for the first time with you as an owner, and it just didn't work out. But you got that experience under your belt. You guys finally got over that hump, so that's got to feel good. Going into the off season, what is it? Where do you guys go from here? What do you think is the biggest thing you need to improve on? What should we expect from the Packers in the offseason and going into season number 10?
Good question. I think overall we're gonna really take some time to break down this season, figure out what worked well for us, what wasn't a good fit for our team. We've got a couple spots we'd like to fill in the off season and the draft as well. Crucial spots that feel could really swing games if we get the right playmakers in place. I really want to focus and continue to work on the offensive running game. The guys in the trenches, the backfield, the halfbacks. I had 3 rotating out. Picked up Perry in free agency this year, and I knew he always had big potential. Actually, it showed it in that game. So he is there for a reason. He's not used very much, but I've got to figure out a better system in the backfield to get the running game going a bit better. I feel like we're much improved from last year. We still have a lot of work to do. We're going to continue to get better and on the defensive side of the ball, which is going to focus since I took over ownership here. So obviously that's first and foremost. I feel like defense keeps in games, and I showed that in my team this year. We stayed in games where, quite frankly, we weren't supposed to stay in and clear our offensive position where they could win the game. So we're going to continue to focus on that. What works for us this year will improve next year, and what didn't work, we're also going to change until we find something that does.
Well, we're definitely excited to see what you do in the off season. We're excited to see what the next season holds for the Packers. You had a definitely had a great season to build on, and you should feel really good about it. We appreciate you jumping on, and congratulations on a great season, and we look forward to seeing you in the off season and going into next year.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate your time. Appreciate all the viewers, and go Yak.
All right, that was the losing coach of the game, um, Tigers 20. He came on. We appreciate him coming on. You know, he owned the calls. He said he read it right. Maybe in that situation wasn't the best thing to go with, but he took ownership of it, and that's all you can say. And maybe next time he does something different. But like he said, if it works out for him, everybody's thinking it was a great call, and it's a different conversation. So, all right, now we're on the phone with the winning head coach, Paul Jukum. He's on the line. Thanks for joining us. What an amazing game, back and forth all game. You guys wind up coming out and getting the win at the end. Coach, give us your thoughts on the game. What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, I want to say that the Tigers played a hell of a game. Probably one of my best friends in this league. So we talked coming up the game. We were like, "You want to go, Mike?" He's like, "No, I think I'm just going to concentrate." And it really showed on the field. Props to his running game and all that good stuff. So as far as how I feel, I definitely know how Malcolm Butler feels now, because that interception was just phenomenal time. And I was kind of like Belichick was conflicted as if he was going to call it timeout. I was conflicted. Do I smash everybody in the middle and try to get him? I had a feeling he was going to pass, but my gut just told me smash it up the middle and see what happens. And sure enough, I actually went back on the replay, and Parker, our free safety, bobbled the ball before he caught it.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable game. Scoring all around. You were down a little bit early and you battled back. You got back in the second half, and the Packers went back out on top, and then you guys kind of fell behind. You guys had an opportunity to kind of drive down and get some momentum going, and then Cam Newton fumbled. On his, I think it was only his third carry of the game. What was going through your head at that point? You guys had turnovers. I don't remember if it was back-to-back drives or 2 and 3 drives, but you had a couple of turnovers there, and things kind of seemed to go against you. What was going through your head there, and how did you turn it around?
Well, Cam came over to me sidelines. He said, "Coach, I'm so sorry." I said, "Dude, shake it off. Just keep pounding, baby, and we're gonna get this back. Hopefully we'll be in a position to win it at the end." And we were. The defense we just believed in our defense. But as far as what I was thinking when I saw that ball hit the ground, you never want to see that as a coach, ever. We preach it all day, every day. Keep the ball in your hands. But I mean, the hit was good. They kind of got him around the ankles and then punched the ball out. So it just, by the grace of the football gods, we were able to pull this out.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things. Players make plays, and you never know what's going to happen. But the heart of a champion is who can overcome the adversity and fight through those plays. And Cam Newton definitely did a good job on that. He bounced back. He had, I think it was 450 yards of total offense, so an amazing game by him, or 450 yards passing. He spread the ball around, all over the field. But the one thing you really seem to key on doing is you're throwing the Corey Austin a lot. You had Casey Hayward beat a couple of times, and Newton overthrew him. Where even though Julius Scott had the really bad game last week, it looked like you were bound and determined to stay away from him and not really go to Benjamin. Was that kind of your strategy going in?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we try to move our receivers around. Hayward, I know, is a little bit of an older guy. So, and as you know, I studied up on Scott. I know pretty much everything there is to know about him. But I wasn't going to take the chance. Chargers were going to get in the playoffs no matter what they did in that game. So I'm not. If Scott, I know how good his zone defense is. So if I'm chucking it up, and you know that Scott has a huge speed advantage over Benjamin. Pretty much any corner does, but his size is what makes it good. And what brought us back, that touchdown to bring us close to within 3 was actually on Scott.
Right.
They were running cover 3 over the top, and I just chucked it up to Brewster, and Broussard, and he came down with an amazing catch. Probably he's the unsung hero if there's anybody.
Well, you make a
He
good
started it.
you make a good point there. Broussard comes down with that catch. He only had, I believe it was 3 catches going into the season. I can pull it up here. No, 5 catches. He had 5 catches in the season, 1 touchdown. And what made you decide to go to the young number 4 receiver on the number 1 corner for Green Bay? What made you think that that was going to be the good matchup?
I honestly thought that it was the strong safety up top. I
Uh-huh.
didn't notice it was Scott until the ball was flying down the field.
Okay.
And when Cam chucked it up there, I seen it was Scott. I was like, this is either going to go one of two ways. Either horribly wrong and this game's over, or horribly right, and we're back in it. And it's, like I said, football God's shining down on me today.
Well, the next week now, we know your opponent's going to be the Chicago Bears. You're going to travel to Chicago and have to take on the Bears, who got the number 2 seed and the first round bye. Give us some of your experience on playing Coach Payton. When you guys have played him before, and what do you expect from that game?
Nobody on the Panthers is, I think, really faced him. Me personally, the last time we won, when I was coaching the Bucks, we won by pretty much a last second drive, almost the same play, that wheel route up the sideline. He just didn't cover it, and Winston blew it in there, and we ran on the field and kind of kneeled down just before the score to run the clock out and kick the field goal. He's an excellent coach. It's definitely going to take a lot of preparation. It's going to be film all day tonight, or all night tonight, and then all tomorrow. Just trying to get ready for him. I think that he hasn't had the best season this year, but I think it's I'm not really sure what it is. I know they changed up running backs. Langford's still there, but I think he has a young guy that he's leaning on more, and maybe that's it. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely
We'll find out.
right. It's definitely a game we're looking forward to. Can't wait to see that one. Should be another great game. Got 2 defenses there. I wouldn't expect for the 2 teams to combine for 97 points in that one, but I guess we'll have to see how that one goes. But congratulations on an amazing win. We look forward to the game next week, and hopefully we'll talk to you after the game next week.
Sounds good, guys. Appreciate all the hard work. Shout out to PX1. Let's keep pounding.
All right. There he goes, Paul Jukum, the winning coach of the Carolina Panthers. He seemed to give a lot of credit just to dumb luck. He felt like he was fortunate to come out with the win there, and his guys came up with more plays than Green Bay did, and that's definitely a way to look at it. He's going to go into the cave now and get some studying in and prepare for his week 2 opponent, or his divisional round opponent, the Chicago Bears. So next up on the line is going to be Matt Pack. We're going to bring him in here in a second. Matt Pack, you're on the post-game show. Wow, what a game. I can only imagine. We wanted to try to do a play-by-play game, but we couldn't get that together. You were able to tune in and watch that. What did you think of that game?
Well, it was an oddity. It was somewhat of an offshoot from a normal PX1 playoff game, and what I mean by that is that normally we see defensive battles. Normally we see guys, having to grind one out.
Right.
We saw it earlier today with San Diego and Tennessee, where it was just a 17-14 game at the end of the game, and it was just a really tough sledding kind of game. This tonight was a 4th of July fireworks show. It was these guys, and these are 2 very formidable defenses. Let me get that out of the way to begin with. These are 2 defenses that normally this kind of game does not happen. But the second half, it turned into an offensive showcase. That's really the only way I know to put it. It was, it wasn't one player making all the plays. It was entire teams working together and just, getting a one up on the guy on the other side. That was it. And Carolina, I give all the credit in the world to Carolina for pulling it out and for winning it in the end. But with less than a minute left, Green Bay still had a chance to tie it.
Right.
And that, with nothing funny going on and nothing, questionable happening gameplay wise, that's a fun game to watch, and it was really good.
Yeah, it was an amazing game to watch, and it was a amazing and tough game to call. I can't imagine if we had two people on that how we would have been going back and forth. At some point, we'll probably get that done, but hey, for the first game of our playoffs, we really couldn't have asked for anything more than that. Hopefully, that has whet the appetite for more play-by-play games to go in the postseason. I'm down for it, and hopefully everybody else does. Now, looking at that game, we talked about it before the game. We weren't sure what to expect. How is Cam Newton going to come out? How is Joey Leonard going to come out? We really kind of put it on Joey Leonard, what kind of game he was going to have. If he played like he did last night, we felt Green Bay was going to win. If he made some mistakes, which he did tonight, we felt they were going to lose, and that kind of played out. What was your overall take on Leonard and Newton and kind of how the turnover battle went and the things that developed like that in the second half?
I felt like that Joey Leonard is a very, very capable, qualified, good quarterback in this league, but he got outvetted tonight by Cam Newton. Joey Leonard, let's put it this way. Last week, in the last game of the regular season, Joey Leonard put the game on his shoulders and took his team to the playoffs.
Right.
Against another playoff team. And he did that. He had an extremely high passing percentage. He had an extremely high QBR. Tonight, he still had a good game. If you exclude the 3 turnovers. The 3 turnovers were what, that was the difference in the game.
Right.
We can point to anything else we want to and say that this made this or that made that. But the 3 turnovers, the 3 interceptions that Leonard had were they were the difference. Cam Newton had a fumble, and the Packers played good defense all night long. But at the end of the day, the turnovers lost the game, and that was, we talked about, like you said, we talked about earlier that the game would go as Joey Leonard directed it, and
right.
Joey Leonard played a good game, but he made too many mistakes, and the Packers have nothing to be ashamed of. They've had a great game in the postseason, but they lost because they got outplayed in one area, and that's the way it goes.
Right. So the game now, the Packers go home. Carolina moves on. Carolina's going to go to Chicago. We talked to Coach Duke about that a little bit. He wants to go in and kind of study it. We've seen Coach Payton for many, many years here playing, and we've seen quite a bit of Duke in the time that we've been here. So give us your breakdown on that game. What are you expecting from that game? What do you think we're going to see from the Bears? What do you think we're going to see from the Panthers? And what kind of game should we expect?
I think both teams have a game plan. I think that they will not go into it blind. They'll go into it, having looked at film, seeing what they believe they can exploit, what they believe that they can, gain the advantage from. Here's the thing. We are not that long removed from the Bears being in the Super Bowl.
16-0.
Max Jeter had
16-0 that year.
Yeah, that's right. And Max Jeter, he had a rough, early part of the year, but he's got the reins on things now. And the worst thing that the Panthers can do is to look at the record that the Bears have and think, okay, I just played a really tough team and beat them. I've got this. Because I can promise you this, Peyton will be prepared. He will be as prepared as almost any PX1 VIPR that we see, because I know for a fact that he watches film, he pays attention to what other coaches and owners do, he pays attention to their tendencies, things like that, and he has got a stable of wide receivers that can run the score up in a minute if you let them.
Right.
So, Duke and Duke, he's got the personnel. He can contain it. He can stop it. He can make it he can slow the scoring down, but he better be ready. I will say that. He does not need to underestimate the Bears, because the Bears they're playing at Soldier Field. They'll be ready to go. I don't foresee 90-plus points in the next game. I really don't.
Yeah, that would be a surprise.
Yeah, it really would to me. I don't want to pick a winner here. It's a little early in the game, but between those two, we've got some really, really old school picks. One owner in Peyton against Duke, who is, he's a solid owner, but he hasn't been around as long. He's going to get to test his mettle against the guy who's been around, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it turns out. It should be interesting. I believe it'll be a very entertaining game to watch.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be one of the KG veteran guys that's been around for a while, that's got a good defense, and he's kind of seen every trick in the book, and he's got a stable of things up his sleeve. And then you've got the younger owner who's got the high flying offense and likes to get in a shootout and kind of see what happens. And it will be interesting to see how those two things clash when we get to this game, probably here in 2 days or so. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you jumping on and giving your thoughts. Another wild night.
Yes, sir.
We'll wrap up, and I'll give you a call here tomorrow after you get done, and we'll see where we're going on future broadcasts. But we appreciate you calling in.
Hey, we appreciate you talking to us. Anytime.
All right. Have a good night. There he goes. That was Matt Pack, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, also one of our admins at the site PX1 Sports. So once again, recap the game: 52-45. Carolina wins. A back and forth game for the entire second half. It was 17-14 at the half, and then just an explosion of points. 68 points in the second half, and Carolina able to come out on top. A couple of turnovers late for the Packers wound up biting them in the bud. They also have a couple opportunities with good field position where they couldn't capitalize and had to settle for field goals, which could have been the difference in the game too. So great matchup next week coming against the Panthers, against the Bears. We're excited for that one. Again, as you see on the screen, the Titans were able to squeak out a 17-14 win over San Diego, so they'll be waiting on, or actually they go to let me pull this up here. Try not to. I don't want to resize the screen. Tennessee should go to Denver. They will travel to Denver, so have a rematch of their Week 17 game as the Titans and the Broncos do it once again from Invesco Field at Mile High. I think that's what it's still called. Apologize if I'm wrong. So. Great game. Appreciate everybody that tuned in. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. Lots of guys tuned in for this one. We appreciate Georgia Fan, Pack, Jersey, Burns. New guy Carl popped in. Hope you liked it. Juke, obviously, and Tigers for their calling in. Imperfect we saw. Luis we saw for a little bit. Big Tex, Wood Small. Anybody else that I'm missing, I apologize, but we appreciate you guys all supporting what we're doing and tuning in for the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. I'm going to need to drink a couple of bottles of water and try to get some moisture back in my mouth. Can't wait to see what the next game brings. We'll see you guys all on the forum. Hope you guys all have a fantastic night.